just a lot of fonts to scroll and scroll and scroll. But there are, you can show just the type of font. So I chose just handwriting, and you can also sort by popularity. So right now you can see that Courgette is the popular handwriting font these days. More pretty. You want to be part of the popular crowd?
I'm feeling the vibes.
Feeling the vibes?
Yes.
Feeling the vibes. Okay.
Can you change the default?
You can.
So that it's not always.
Trying to think. Anything that you check mark will then show up in your shortened font menu. And you can change your normal text. You can. I'm trying to think.
I think you can.
I have to look through, but it's under.
If here, we'll check because
format.
Yeah, it saves. I think because those are my last ones. No, it didn't. It didn't. You can.
Yeah,
That was an excellent question. I feel like you get more beans for that. By the way, these are my notes, and they are supposed to be up here. It's okay. Totally fine. No, not from the beginning. Present from the slide.
So one of the things I really like to do with Google Docs, or if you're doing HyperDocs for the kids, is use a table of contents to allow the document to, if I want to go to the heading on animals, then I can click on the heading for animals and go right down there. So it's kind of nice if you use the heading format, use a subheading, you can add that and then link right to that heading. And there's a short video on how to do that.
That Missy did make for you.
I did make that.
She did make that. It's also really nice if you are taking notes in meetings and you are talking about different students or different aspects of project. If you use the heading feature, then when you want to go back to those notes, you can use the table of contents to jump directly to those notes.
If you're at a conference such as Petency and 20 of you are on the same document, you can put the session title and hyperlink to that and make life easier for everybody who's trying to do conference reports afterwards.
Right. Now, if you like fonts, but you were not that impressed with my sorting the fonts 2 slides ago, this is for you. I like my fonts. I like fun fonts. I like making things pretty. I do. I teach in middle school. Listen, I take my joys where I can find them.
Rightfully so.
Yes. Extensys is another add-on. You can get it at the link that says Get It Here. And it will give you quick change font menu, which is really nice because one of the things I don't like about Google's embedded font menu is that you have to highlight the text, choose the font. Do I like this font? No, I don't like this font. Highlight the text, go up to the thing, fine. This gives you real-time changing of the font. It pops up a side window so that as you scroll through the fonts that you're looking at, you can see it ahead of time, and if you like it. Ooh, don't Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And this is a throwback from last time, but there are so many people who do not know what the paint roller is for, and it is life-saving and time-saving. How many times have we copied and pasted things from different documents, from websites, and it looks like garbage? We have small things, little things, different fonts, all kinds of crazy things. So we just highlight the font and size that we want, and then we grab the paint roller, and we highlight everything we want to look like that, and bing, we're done. No more crazy font changing stuff.
It is awesome. Also, yes.
Yes.
I have not either. If you do, let me know. I'll mail you beads.
Yeah.
I will tell you there is also a paint roller in slides, which is fabulously helpful once you finally figure out how you want things to look, and then you're pulling things from different sources. It's very easy to change from spot to spot.
And when you show students that, they think you're magic. Wizardry powers.
Yes, I do. True story. I showed that at ISTE in a session I did there this past summer, and there was a guy from Google in the audience, and he didn't know about it. And he came up and was like, I gotta tell you, you taught me something. And I was like, I didn't have beads, or he would have had all the beads. Alright, so, do you remember I told you that those were my notes, and my notes were up for a reason? This is the highlight tool. Great name, very fancy. Highlight tool does this. you get to create libraries of highlighters. And those libraries will save. And you can name your colors different things. So you can see these are my personal P&C notes as opposed to the notes that I'm sharing with everybody in my district. And I have set up a library over here that I've named, like share with someone or resources to heat up my teaching, which is a presentation I'm going to do back at school with stuff I share. For my team, do this when I get back, think about this when I get back, and then present our resources. What's really awesome is as I go through, I can just highlight and click over here, and I'm not trying to remember what I said each color was going to be.
It's already
But
there.
wait, there's more. Down here, I can extract the highlights either by sequence or by color. So if I sort them by color, and I say I want to put it either in a new document or the current document or some other document that I'm going to give them the URL to, and click extract, then down at the bottom, I have see, that was worth comment.
Yeah, you got your beads for a reason now. We're happy.
Yeah, because it tells me what I said that label meant, and then all the things that I highlighted here. Right,
That is
highlight
awesome
tool, tis awesome sauce. You can get that right now by clicking on the easy add-on link, and then you too can color code your notes. Yeah, Shay, sorry.
Does that work in spreadsheets?
I have not found it in spreadsheets yet, but I'm gonna tell you this is a newer tool to me, so try it. See if you can find it. It is an add-on, so if you go to the add-on menu in Sheets and you can find it,
And if
it
you
does
look
work.
now and find it, we'll give you beads.
Well, then you can share it in the show us your tips portion at the end.
Tips.
Yeah, we're not. That is actually true. We are going to have you share tips at the end. Yeah. So yay. Oh, and that's where we ended docs on that high note.
Anyone else have any doc tips they'd like to share before we proceed?
Okay. Start thinking of them if you do, because there is a shared Padlet at the end that will give you access to, and then you can share.
You can all share the resources.
Because the smartest person in the room is the room.
Is the right.
Is the room.
Absolutely.
All right. So to get Googlier with slides, if you have gotten tired of certain things, or if you feel like you want to give a little facelift to something, we liked our splashes from last year, but felt it needed an upgrade for 2.0. So we just went into the slides master. You can actually see that is the master slide for this slide deck. And if you click on any of the elements, you can change their color, their font style, their size. So I changed it one time, and it went everywhere. And every slide that was that similar setup changed. And they do give you a master slide, so you can change the master, and then each of the leveled down slides, it gives you the opportunity to change. So you can change them differently if you want, set up your headings, set up different colors for different types of slides, but that way you only have to change it once and not go through 64 slides individually, because no one has time for that. No one has time for that. And you get to that through the slide menu, and then just down there at Edit Master.
Okay, and if you're like me and I don't have time for monkey with the master, I like to go through the drive-through and get out of there. I love slides templates. There are 4 different resources for you, 4 beautiful templates that are great and appropriate for schools and a lot of fun and funky, so check those out.
Slides Mania has a template for lesson planning too, like a year-long lesson planner.
And the Slides Go has really cool stuff for
Slides Go, it does.
portfolioing and just neat ideas.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people have probably heard of Slides Carnival. The other 3 are very similar in style and setup. You make a copy of the template to your own drive, and then you're off and running. Yeah.
Just make sure when you edit, you make a copy of it first, because then you mess up your original. Never done that, ever.
Size does in fact matter. Yes. Because if your copier has 8.5 by 11 paper and your slide is not 8.5 by 11 size really does matter. Okay? But you can go into page setup, which is in your file menu, page setup. It's defaulted to widescreen because when you're presenting, that's usually what you want. but you can customize that size to any size you want by inches. And so if you just set it up to 8.5 by 11, then you have paper-sized slides, which you can use to then create beautiful handouts or PDFs or whatever you want. And it's so much nicer than trying to do some graphic-heavy things in docs. Because if you've tried to do that, you know that they move around, and they don't like to behave.
Do it as nice as you'd like it
Right.
to. Plus,
But in slides, they tend to
does
be able
everything.
to play together a little bit more nicely.
True story.
Yeah.
We have.
I know.
People might they heard our dulcet tones from the hallway.
Oh, dulcet. You and I, dulcet. That's hysterical.
I am a delicate little flower.
Okay. So again, if you're like me and you're graphically challenged and you like the lazy way, I am horrible with colors. I have the artistic ability of an ant, and I will be very honest with it. So Paletti is a wonderful extension to add so that you can pick color schemes. It lets you go through, find what you like. You can change the colors, and it gives you all the complementary colors that go with it. And you look like a Picasso when you're done your slides presentation.
You're very creative.
Oh. I love you. But
By the way, we'll take a moment. Shout out to Missy's husband, Sean, who made our shirts. Yeah, very creative. Okay, now, if you are trying to make things look very pretty and professional, and if you are starting to use slides to create handouts and things like that, you're definitely going to make sure you want to go into the Arrange menu. You can see those 3 stripes right there, which, you know, if you were going to a rave, would be the perfect eyeshadow palette. But if you want them exactly spaced, the way that so that there's even amounts, and you do not want to spend hours sitting there holding Control Shift and nudging them,
because size matters.
because size does matter. To all the gentlemen in the room.
I apologize.
And at home, our deepest apologies.
You're gonna get fired.
It's nice seeing you all.
I'm losing our tongue.
But you use the Arrange and then Distribute horizontally and vertically. And you also see right above Distribute, there's a line. Bonus tip, a line will help you set them up within the space that they are surrounded by. So there is Distribute. Missy is distributing.
I'm distributing.
She's coming back.
Okay, so audience tools, if you're not familiar with them, you have the ability to do some cool things when you're actually in people and you're presenting, and I just unpresented, sorry. Alright, so when you're down here, this lovely Q&A pops up, and you can actually ask your audience some questions. So if I hit Start New, you guys can go to this lovely URL right here, which if you shrink that will appear for your audience at the top of your slides as well. And then they can ask lots and lots of questions.
Which you can turn on and off.
Yes. So I can say, oh, okay, I want to answer questions now. Go ahead and put them out there, and then I can turn it off so you don't do that anymore. So if I go back out to, oh, come on.
You just need to shrinky dink that screen.
I'm trying to shrinky dinky, and it's not shrinky dinky. Come
Go
on.
to the top.
It is.
No, the other side.
It's not the one.
Okay.
First one. Let it go. Come on. Nope. No. What did I do wrong? Right there. Nope. That's okay. Thank you. Sorry. So, go ahead and Miss Karen did this in the middle of our presentation. She shot me, hey Missy, what would you do for a set of beads? And I said, I'd learn how to shrink my screen. That would be great.
Well done.
I'm so
It's like we planned that.
I know. Can imagine. So go ahead, you can enter this and ask any questions as we go. Feel free to put them in there and we'll be able to see them and keep track of them.
Can you show us how you got there again?
Yes.
So, right here when you're presenting live, it's the Q&A.
So it's like your very own batch.
It is your very
It is
own
your
back
very own
channel.
back channel.
So you have to have it on, and then it gives you the link on your slides for people to put their questions in. And I see that Chris asked, where do the questions appear? So they'll appear in here when you're watching this. So I can have a separate device up, my phone up, and I can be watching this while she's presenting. and answer the questions. So for now, I'm going to minimize it in case anything else pops up.
Yep. I really am not this fixated on size.
She is too. Don't let her fool you.
But this is another one about sizing things. And this is a great shortcut. If you click on an object, normally, oops, let me go into editing. If you click on an object to resize it, when you resize it, it pulls only in the direction that you're pulling. And then you have to slide it back to wherever you had it. But if you have something where you want it and you just want to resize it, if you hold Control-Shift or Command-Shift-C if you are on a Mac, and then you resize, it resizes from the middle. See, so I'm like, oh, I want to line my flowers up. I want to line my flowers up, and they know that's the middle, and I want to resize. Now when I resize this, it will resize just from the middle.
So it's not moving it.
It's not moving it, it's just sizing from the middle.
Okay, closed captioning. So, for those of us who talk really, really fast or like to mumble, sometimes people have problems hearing us or understanding what we're talking about.
Or if you have students in your class who are hard of hearing or deaf.
It is nice to be able to give them the option to hear what you're saying. So if you click on this closed captioning, you will see that I am actually recording what I'm saying as I'm talking and I'm giving my presentation. So anyone who can't hear me in the background, which I know is not happening, you can now see what I'm saying on the screen in real time. Now, I will caution you to enunciate because some of those can get pretty
Show us your
interesting.
tips.
Tips. Okay. I'm gonna enunciate those. Okay. So,
And it's not perfect. So, for example, my last name is Steigerwalt, and my first name is not spelled traditionally. So, if I'm using this to introduce myself, I might need to stop and go back and correct it. But you can see that, yeah.
no one's spelling Steigerwald correctly.
No.
Unless they have it in front of them.
No. And you do have options in that caption menu, the drop down there. You can change the location, the top or the bottom of the screen, and
Right
you
here.
can change the size.
Small, make it larger, whatever you need to do.
That's being picked up on the laptop's microphone or
Yes.
the setup?
It's
Oh,
like the Chromebook, because we don't have sound plugged in.
Okay. So I'm gonna turn that off because that's gonna drive
Does
me
that
crazy.
save with it?
No.
No, it'd
Sadly
be nice
not.
if it did. But doesn't.
So it's just when you're
Would.
presenting.
Just when you're using it.
We'll go back.
Now.
Okay. Because we gotta get a little loopy.
Oh, Lord. Beads and loopy.
Beads and loopy. We gotta get a little loopy. There are two ways that you can loop your slides. The first one is you can go to File, publish it to the web, select how many seconds that you want per slide, and then hit Continuous. That one's been around for a long time. But this one is actually in the presentation mode. You go down to the bottom tray menu, and then you hit the Settings, and then from Settings you go to Auto Advance, and then right here you have that, and then you can loop from here. So if you didn't set that up by publishing it to the web, or if for some reason you don't want to publish it to the web, you have the ability to set it up right from your presentation tools. Ooh, we trained them.
Alright, so now, thank you, Google. Finally, we have sound right in the insert menu. It's awesome. So if you want to add music to your presentations, you could just flip it in instead of doing the teeny little YouTube videos in the corner and making them play upon the slide. So,
And you do have the option, we have it shown here, that we have sound in the slides.
Today I read a book called Grandfather's Journey. The author of the book is Alan Say. Today I read a book called Grandfather's Journey. The author of the book is...
But you also have the option when you insert the sound to hide that icon so that the sound is a surprise.
Is it on autoplay or on the phone?
That you also
You
set
can
up.
control
Yep.
that as well.
So I have, when I have writing conferences in my room, my kids literally take a number, like they're in a deli, and I have a slide that says now serving number, and then I shrink, and to edit the number, obviously I have to change it, but I have it set up that anytime, like on the click of it presenting, it goes ding, so they can be working at their desks and they don't have to constantly be looking to see what number I'm working on. It just goes ding, and they all go
That's me.
Every single time I check, even if I'm on like 2 and they're 20. They're middle schoolers. They do. Ooh, now we're getting to Googlier with sheets. It's my sheets dance. Sheets time. Alright. Flippity is an old favorite, but I do feel the need to mention it. Is there anyone in the room who has never heard of Flippity? Okay, for those of you who have heard of Flippity, they do add new features. Their newest feature is manipulatives. So now you can put things in a Google Sheet, and then Flippity will work its magic, and you can have manipulatives. For those of you not familiar with Flippity, if you just go to flippity.net, tell my computer knows it, these are all different things that you can do with Flippity. But the awesome thing is that they play together. So for example, if you go into the flashcards and you use their template, I'm actually going to go in and use their demo, and you go into here, this is what they look like when you're done. This is created using a Sheets template. You make a copy of the file to your drive. You enter the front side of the flashcards in one column, the back side of the flashcards in another column. You publish it to the web. It gives you a link, which gives you this. But what's awesome is it's not just flashcards that will read to you, and that you can flip in different ways, and you can toss when you know that card.
I don't spend any more time on that one.
And then you can reset it when you want to test them all, and you can change what it gives you first. But it also gives you a list. And yes, images and audio files and videos can go into the flashcards. And you can make a printer-friendly one. But wait, there's more. Practice, so for spelling words, this is excellent vocabulary. Matching, where they have to beat the clock by sliding it together. A word cloud. I've not yet figured out why I would use this, but it's pretty to have. And wait, there's more. There's bingos and crosswords, and now there's manipulatives. So for example, if you send side 1 to the manipulatives, you can sort them out. There's a quiz show, a matching game, a scavenger hunt, a snowman. Snowman is new.
It's like Hangman.
Oh, it's like Hangman, only it's winter. Aww, Flippity! And there's word searches and scrambles and printable quizzes. And how many times did you have to type the information? Once.
Wow.
What I love to use all the time in Flippity is the name chooser, because the name chooser will give you, will give you spinners, it will give you a single name, it will give you a lineup, it will give you groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, teams, etc. It will give you a seating chart, but wait, there's more. Okay. You can also do speed networking, seating chart, roster, a gift exchange. You can also send it to the tournament bracket. So all those of you who do March Madness things, now your tournament brackets can be made. You can vote on your favorite student, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Our library did a worst literary villain ever March Madness. Yeah, Voldemort one. Good choice. You can send it to manipulatives. You can send it to Fun with Words, which gives you the cute kind of letters for name tags and things like that. Again, only have to type it once. Hooray! And then when children move, you just delete their names. They're gone forever.
No, they don't. They come back, I promise.
And that's easy too. That's easy too. You just type them back in. Put them back in. Yeah. So that's Flippity.
Or do revision history and don't type them again. Okay, so QR codes and sheets, this is wonderful. This is what you're going to want to keep and highlight and paste in yourself. But if I do book talks with my kids where they record, like we heard Grandfather's Journey earlier, I like to make one big Google sheet where they can go in and click on the title and see what the book's all about. But now I can just do a QR code where they scan the code, and now they can hear all their classmates talking about the book. It's in one location, they're all together. So this is the command you need to get an image into the sheet. So I have, if you go to the next page, Karen, you'll be able to see
Which is my command.
Thank you, my dear. So you can see that we talked about people who are Google, people who like to talk Google. So you'll see their Twitter handles. This is the link, their URL, and then I just use that command to create the QR
And you
code.
put that
so
in the
just
formula
scan it
bar?
right in there. Yes, it's in the formula.
Yeah, you just put it in the
So
formula.
if you click on this sheet right now, you will be able to see when we click on that row C that there's the command. Oh, what'd you just do?
I didn't do anything.
Click on this cell right here. You'll be able to see that we took that formula and stuck it right in here and just changed this to be 2 so that we got the image.
And you have that in our presentation on slide 29. Okay, so if you do want to do something like copy down those formulas into things, there's 2 ways you can do that. One is to click the cell and pull the little bottom right hand corner all the way down. But if you go into that cell and you double click on that right hand corner, it will fill down until there's a break. So if you did not know that, that is a huge time saver. For example, when I'm setting up for my team, what homeroom people are in, and I get everybody's rosters, and then rather than pull it down, because sometimes when you pull down, it automatically, especially if it's numbers, it'll start adding up. If you just double click it, and it doesn't change it. So I just copy and paste the first homeroom, they're this number. Second homeroom, they're this number. So fill her up.
Okay, I don't know. I like notifications. So when I use Google Form and results go into my sheets, I like to know that I've gotten them, especially if I'm a guidance counselor and I've created a form for people to refer people to me. I want to know that someone's filled out my form. So I turn on notifications so that they come right into my email and I see them. So there's no lag time in response, especially if someone wants me as a coach to be in the room the next day, or they want a principal to come observe them. They get that response that says, hey, why don't you come check out my lesson? I'm going to do this today. Notifications. And then you can decide.
Oh, I did not realize that you had like fancy schmancy things happening in the slide.
You can decide whether you want it to be when changes are made or when anyone submits the answer. And if you're like me and you get 10,000 emails and you only want it once a day, that's good. Or if you want to know it right away because you need to be on that, then you can do that too.
Yes.
Up to you.
Speaking of data, there in the data menu has 2 things at the bottom that a lot of people don't realize are there because they've been around a little while but not always. One is remove duplicates because kids never fill out a form more than once.
Neither do adults.
Yeah, and then also trim white space, which will trim your sheet so that only the cells that are occupied will be there and the rest will be just background colored. And it will go to the furthest out column and to the furthest down row. So if you have spaces in there, you don't have to worry that you're going to get things cut off. But that will leave you with just what you need, which is, we don't need clutter in our lives, just in our hotel rooms.
Now, was that a comment about your roommate?
No, it's kind of comment about your roommate.
And then, and then if you are like me and you screw up your form and you just ask for a name and then you realize later on you need to sort by last names or you forgot to ask, you can change it so that you can take those cells and break them in 2. So I made a quick little video just to help you with that.
Do you want me to play it?
You can or you cannot, it doesn't matter. Because they can watch it on their
It's
own.
17 seconds long.
It's very short.
And it walks you through what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, let's check that out. But I know 100 times I've forgotten to set up a column I needed and I put them together and I needed to split them out.
Alright, so now, speaking of forms, we're going to get a little Googlier with them. Yay. How are we doing on time? Are we good on time? We're good on time. We're good on time. We're good. Excellent on time.
So AutoCAD is fantastic. And if you will please kindly go to the link at the top, it is a bit.ly. Again, you need to pay attention to the capitalization and fill out that form. You're going to see how wonderful, awesome AutoCAD is because it is going to take all of the data that you enter in that form and it is going to pull it right where I want it because I manipulated it into a Google slide and you are going to get a beautiful certificate in your mail in about 5 seconds. So go ahead, as long as the Wi-Fi is being cooperative, go ahead and fill out that form and then let me know when you get the certificate in your email.
Remember which email you fill in, because that's where the certificate will show up.
That's the magic.
That's
Don't
a-
go to
that's
your
a-
school
that's a key
email.
part.
Put your home email in there.
You can put your school email in if you want.
Well, yeah, but if you do, you have to go to your school email instead of your home email. It's
Whichever one
important.
you have open now that you've been secretly checking when we presented, that would be the one.
Multitasking.
And Autocrat, I will tell you, Missy is amazing with Autocrat and has no problem telling you more detail if this is something you feel like you want to set up. It is one of those things that the first time you set it up, you do kind of have to give yourself about, 10, 15 minutes, maybe a little longer, to really walk yourself through setting it up the first time. But once you've done it 1 or 2 times, it becomes familiar.
And when you do it, test it out, and when you get it and you go, oh, what is that still doing there? Then you go back and look at what you screwed up the first time. But it's nice
not
for
something you
kids,
wanna
especially
do.
if you're doing digital breakouts, because, you broke out, you got a certificate, I don't have to do anything anymore. You got it. Print it yourself.
And she did give you a lovely video tutorial down here, so that if this is something you want to explore more, you can.
Yes. Anybody get their certificate yet?
I think they're still filling out the form.
Okay. Let them fill.
You what?
You
You got one?
Got it.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Forms are coming
yeah.
out. Aren't they pretty?
They're so pretty.
They're beautiful.
We encourage you to tweet those out.
Yes.
Yes.
Feel free to.
Tag your administrators.
Say,
Look
hey,
what I did.
administrator, you want to do a walkthrough? Here you go. Give me instant feedback. I love you.
Don't send an email during my lesson.
Beautiful Summary is an add-on for Google Forms, and what it does is, you know how when you get the form results, it defaults to that summary with the pie charts and everything else? Well, the problem with that is if you want to see more discrete data, so instead of having everybody's responses, you want to filter that out. And normally you had to go into the Google Sheet to filter that data and then do it by sorting your data ranges. Okay, so first I want to see all of my second period class, and then I want to see how they responded to this question, and then I want to go down further to that. Well, Advanced Summary lets you do that with the visual summary. So for example, this is what it looks like when you first open it up with all of the results, and this was only 8 people took the survey. It was something I did in a small group. And you can see that up here, this asks all of the grade levels that they taught. And so then using Beautiful Summary, I was able to filter that so that I only was looking then at the data for the 3rd to 5th grade band. So then these pie charts change from here to here because I'm only looking at the people in 3rd through 5th grade. So if you want those visuals and you want to be able to use those, because let's face it, this is a little bit more appealing if you're putting it into a presentation or something like that than a shot of a Google sheet. And then you don't have to do the extra step of turning that Google sheet into another chart using something else. It just does it right here. So Beautiful Summary, like I said, it's an add-on. You can get it where it says get it here.
Okay, so forms are great and they're wonderful, but the nice thing is that you can send people to different sections based on their responses. So if you tell me that you did not enjoy the session, I can send you to a different section that says tell us why. And if you did, I can say, okay, tell us what we did right. And if you have some suggestions, I can say, show us your tips with us, and we can see them based on your responses. So I can say, if you say yes to this, I want you to go to section 2, and if you say no to this, I want you to go to section 3 and answer these responses. And if you say, I didn't even come, I don't know what you're talking about, what beads, then you can just say, submit your response now.
I was watching from home, and you didn't send them through the mail.
Sorry to those of you viewing at home, no
Sorry,
beads for
home
you.
viewers. Also, if you kind of were thinking about that, yes, that does mean that you can have students answer a question, and then if they choose the right answer, send them to one place, and if they choose the wrong answer, send them to a different one. A little differentiation going on there.
Also nice for a choose your own adventure type thing.
Yes, yes. For those of you old enough to remember Choose Your Own Adventure.
Now, is that a shot?
I'm old enough to remember Choose Your Own
Only a
Adventure.
few years older.
Yes, I meant me in the audience.
I know where you sleep at night.
Yep. Okay. What's also nice is that Google has the option in the forms creation menu to reuse a question. If you never really knew what this icon meant, like we all just kind of go like, oh yeah, add a question. This one means import a question. So if you click on that, it will bring up all of the forms you have ever created, and then you can pull questions from any of them and put them right in.
So I use last name for everything. I'm pulling that over.
You're like, this
now.
is why we didn't leave yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Life got easy.
And so you can, and then what it'll let you do is it actually will let you select all just with one click. So if you're like, for example, if you want to copy most of a form, but then you want to add some new things because it's a new year, things like that, you can copy all of the form and then you can add in additional questions, or you just check off which ones you want. So you don't have to keep doing it if you're using the same form and multiple questions from it. You literally have a checkbox menu that it'll suck it all in at once.
Okay, again, I'm all about the notifications. It makes my life easier. So there is an add-on called Form Notifications where you can decide how often you want to be notified. So I can say I want to be notified every response, or I can say hold it until there's 25 responses because I know there's 25 people in my building who need to respond to this survey, and I don't want them at each one time. I want them all the time, same time. And I can say which one asks for their email because I want you to send a copy of their responses to them so they can say, oh, now I know where I'm going for the session A at this time because you just sent me that response. I don't have to do it again. And then I can give them a short little, thanks for filling out the form, I appreciate your time, and then out it goes.
Also, one thing that you may or may not notice, again, I like making things pretty. So if you click on the palette, the artist palette, you do have theme and font options. So you can change the colors, you can add different images, and you can change background colors and also font style. So if you want something a little bit more elegant, perhaps for an RSVP or a banquet or a fundraiser, or you want something more themed towards a breakout that you're doing, if you're using a form for a breakout, you can set it up with both theme and font and color options.
Okay, and if you have a survey for someone to fill out, like you just filled out that really long survey for me, and I want to save you some time because I know what time the session is and I know what date it is, I can pre-fill it by using the pre-filled link, which gives you a little bit less time. So if you click on that link, you will notice that all of the details are already filled out for you because I sent you the pre-filled link, which gives you some of the information already done. Saves your time, saves my time, because then you don't accidentally put in the wrong title or the wrong date and then frustrate me as a teacher when you're trying to go to different sessions.
Great. And pre-filled link questions you set up where?
Oh.
That's okay. Oh, I'm in here so you can't do it. Yeah. Sorry. That's okay.
When you go, sorry. So anyway, when you're in there, you can hit on the settings and you can fill out the form and then send that link to people.
Yes.
I'll put that in my notes.
The form itself, we can just add it to this slide.
Yeah.
The form itself has that option in it. This is my computer. It's not Missy's, and she made the form. Right? My computer.
Sorry.
Right, yes. Okay. Whew. All right, shortcuts. Woo, here we are.
And we have a short time.
9 minutes for
Good.
shortcuts
Quickly.
and their tips. So this one, we did show this last year, but just like a favorite lipstick, this is probably my favorite Easter egg of all time in Google. If you open up a Google Sheet and in the top row, starting with column 1, in capital letters, spell out PRIDE across the first 5 columns, you will get a lovely rainbow sheet. It will change all of your columns for you. Yeah, we didn't make that, we just love it. So if you are in a sheet, and if you didn't pick this one up, sheets.new, get you a new sheet. Sorry. I did. No, it just didn't show.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then if you hide the top row, then nobody can go through and like accidentally take out a letter, because if you lose a letter, it changes the colors back. Yeah, I love this because if you're tracking columns, sometimes my eyes jump. I just like an easy way to have my columns color coded. But it is a very cool Easter egg, so we like to continue to share it. All right.
And then when you are in Google, Control D is your best friend because you can duplicate anything, whether it's a slide or a doc or anything else you want to duplicate and then fix. You can do that with Control D. It's nice and short.
It's kind of like Control C, Control V combined into one. If you highlight something and press Control Shift 7, it will put it into a numbered list, and Control Shift 8 is a bulleted list. Shortcut there. It also takes it off.
Okay, and for those of you who like to make your text larger, you can do Control Shift and greater than, or Control Shift less than to make it smaller. So open, shut. I like to show the kids that one. They have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, so the left alligator makes it bigger, and the right alligator makes it smaller. My elementary math teachers.
Or yeah, alligators, sharks.
Sharks. Control Shift T. I actually used this with a student. She was sitting there, she came in at lunch voluntarily because she had cheerleading practice or something after school and needed to get homework done. And I'm doing something in my room and she's working and we're both eating lunch, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, what's wrong? I thought she was choking. She's like, I just closed a tab I shouldn't have. I'm like, hit Control Shift T. I thought she was going to like gift me her firstborn. But she's like, oh my gosh, you're brilliant. And that was the point I realized that maybe I should be telling my students some of the things that I'm telling you. But do share with them too, not just your colleagues when you go back, especially if you're in a district that has one-to-one Chromebooks.
But when you're in a meeting with your colleagues and you hear that dreaded, please tell them Control Shift T. Save them some headaches.
They save their life. Yes.
Okay, and if you need to test out something like a student, do go into incognito mode, Control Shift N, or Command Shift N if you're a Mac user. It's nice to go out and explore and make sure it's going to work for them in incognito mode.
Also, a good habit to get into if you are purchasing gifts for somebody on a computer you share with them.
If you're doing your Christmas shopping on a school computer, might be a good idea. Not that I recommend that.
While you're on the topic of.
So, we never have these moments when you're planning a shower for a colleague and then they walk and you're like, oh. And you're trying to hide the screen, so Control W or Command W, and the screen just wipes out and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you're typing a note to little Susie and Johnny walks up and his nosy little self is looking around, Control W and everything's gone. So here, it just minimizes it without you having to think about it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely good, but it's also good to know that your kids know that trick too, and when they start doing that, you should see what they're doing.
So that sometimes only minimize one tab?
So only one tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever tab you're on.
Okay.
It's on the curve.
We don't know it, all tabs.
So how do you get that tab back? How do you get it back?
How do you get the tab
It
back?
minimizes it.
Control Shift T.
We just told you that one.
Well, but you said minimize.
Alright, yeah, okay.
That's why it got
Yes, it does. Control
Control
W
Shift T,
and Control
sorry.
Shift T are basically opposites.
There. Counterparts.
I can understand.
Like us. Alright. So, that is the end of the new stuff we are showing you. However, if you're like, but I didn't know that this was the second, but this is a sequel. It's like watching the second Indiana Jones before you saw the first Indiana Jones.
Or Star Wars,
if you
but they're not in the right order anymore anyway, so.
Yeah. But if you go to bit.ly/just Google Girls instead of Google Girls 2, you will get to last year's presentation in case you would like those tips. And if you care to share your tips, show us your tips and we'll show you ours. If you want to know how we made the magic unicorn rainbow text there, if you click on that link, it will take you to a Padlet where you can find out what we did there as well as share your tips. And we tried to sort them out just a little bit to add-ons, extensions, just tips and shortcuts. So if you have any that you want to put up there, please feel free.
And check out Magic Unicorn Rainbows.
Yep. And this is Magic Unicorn Rainbows. So, as you are doing that, we will tell you once again that if you have any questions, you can find us at our individual Twitters. We also have a Girls Gone Google Twitter handle that we try to post tips on, and we hope that you have an awesome rest of Pete and C. If you have questions, we will be here. We'll be around.
And if you didn't get beads,
if you
come
don't get
get
beads,
some.
we have beads
Please
out here
get
for
beads.
you. But please feel free to add on throughout the conference to that Padlet, so that if you do learn some cool tips, you can share with everybody here. So thank you so
for
much.
coming, guys. Enjoy your meeting.
Beads, who needs beads? Beads? Can I swap? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Beads?
autocrat add-on.
Oh, sure.
You're welcome. You want to talk to Missy about that one. I think it's an add-on for form. Do you need beads?
I do.
You have beads for Missy? And because I just ran out, but she has more. You're welcome.